Hi everyone, it's Lindsay and welcome back to another video. Today I want to share with you how to use your gilding flakes with stencils. It's super easy and I want to share with you a few different techniques you can do with this. So, gilding flakes. These are fun to play around with, but they are a mess. Just be prepared for it and it's not going to be that big of a shock. Don't have any ceiling fans on. Try not to sneeze on them, try not to breathe too hard on them, and you'll be okay. But I am using the Cosmic Shimmer Gilding Flakes. These come in an array of colors. You can get plain gold, plain silver, bronze. I'm using a mixture, which I absolutely love the look of. Now, to get these to stick to where my stencil is, I'm also using the Tacky When Dry Gel Medium. I've used this many times before in my videos. It's one of my favorite products, and it is great to have on hand for glitter, flock, just all different kinds of things that you might want to put through your stencils. I'll leave a few different ideas that I have for it down below in the description box. Now for my first card, I went ahead and die cut an oval. This is from the Zigzag Oval set from Cat Scrappiness, and I'm using the Leaf Collection stencil. Again, one I've used many times. It's one of my favorite from the Crafters Workshop. I went ahead and chose this long leaf. I centered it on my die cut, and I'm just going to push through some of that Tacky When Dry gel medium with a palette knife. The trick with this, you want to get it as smooth as possible. So I am just going over this area a few times, making sure it's in all the little nooks and crannies. Then I can go ahead and peel that stencil off, and I've got this gorgeous leaf ready to go. Now this is white when it goes on. You want to set it aside to dry. And while that's drying, make sure you clean off your stencil and everything. If this gets stuck on your stencil, it's there for good. Clean your palette knife, clean your stencil. Then once it dries, it's going to dry clear. So you'll know exactly when it's dry. You won't have any extra wait time. Once it's dry, it's going to have a tacky finish to it. So try and keep your fingers and pet hairs and all that stuff away from it. And then it's time to put on your gilding flakes. I like to do mine in a box to keep it contained. I don't have a ceiling fan going. I don't have any extra air moving around here. And I'm just taking it out. I'm taking a lot out of the jar. You're going to see here. It's a lot extra, but any extra that doesn't get stuck can be put right back into the jar. So don't be afraid to really get it on there to make sure you get into all those areas. I just pounce on it with my finger to make sure it's stuck into that gel. Then you can use your fingers and a stiff bristle brush. This one I'm using here is from Imagine Crafts. And I am just going to brush aside all these extra flakes that are just hanging on and not really stuck to anything. That is going to break apart all those larger flakes, make sure everything is just where you want it to be on those sticky parts of the stencil. Once I get the majority of those off, I'm going to start going around in little circles to get all the little tiny extra bits off. I'm doing this all over the jar so I can just kind of sweep it right back into the jar. And then any extra tiny little bits I put back into the box, you can try and pick those up and put them back into the jar if you want to. Really, I've had these gilding flakes for a while now, and I still looks like a completely full jar. You're only going to go through these if you do a lot of gilding or you have a big project like wedding invitations or something you're working on. So it's not that big of a deal. Once I feel like I have everything pressed in, all the little extra bits gone, this is done. It's super simple. And now you're ready to finish off the rest of your card. Here's a look at that little leaf. You can see even the tiniest little dots that you have with that leaf stencil get covered with the gilding flakes. I do have a little few extra pieces on there. You could go in with an even smaller brush to really get all those details. I kind of like the distressed look, so I left them, but I absolutely love all the different colors in this particular mix that I have here. And the Cosmic Shimmer Gilding Flakes, they have quite a few different mixes. So if this isn't your thing, they have more mixes that you can look at, or you can just get regular gold, silver, bronze, that kind of thing. Now to finish this card, I'm really keeping it nice and simple. I'm using another stencil in the background, one of my favorites. This is the Fringe stencil from the Crafters Workshop, and I'm using a little bit of Skylight ink from Catherine Pooler and a jumbo ink dauber just to go from the center out towards the edges, fading that out. I love to mix stencils, and it makes for a really quick card. So this was the perfect finishing touch for me. All that was left to do once I got this exactly how I wanted it was pop up that oval right in the center of the card base with a little bit of foam adhesive. Then I stamped a thinking of you sentiment down in the bottom right hand corner. I used some icing on the cake ink. Everything, all the stamps, all the supplies I'm using, it's all going to be listed down in the description box below. So if you have any questions, make sure you head down there to check that out. On my next card, I'm actually going to be working on some craft cardstock here. This is a full A2 size, so I can cover up my entire card base. And I'm using a brand new stencil from the Crafters Workshop. This is one of their gorgeous, gorgeous new ones. I love it. It's called Fir Branch, and this is in the 6x6 size. I do want to mention the Crafters Workshop stencils. If you see something you like, but you're more of an art journaler, or you like scrapbook pages more and you want a larger image, all of these stencils come in 6x6 and 12x12 sizes, so they've got you covered. Now on this stencil, I'm going to go ahead and do some ink blending first. I'm using eucalyptus and icing on the cake inks from Catherine Pooler. And to make sure I can get into all those little nooks and crannies, I am using these teeny tiny blending brushes from my Amazon makeup blending brush set. I did not think I would use these. I did not think I had a purpose for them. So I was a little disappointed when my big set of brushes came with all these smaller ones. They are a lifesaver though. I use them so much, especially on getting all of these little areas in like scene stencils or something that needs a few different colors. I absolutely love them for that. Because I'm working on craft, I am making sure I build up that ink quite a bit to make sure you can see the pattern on the background. And I'm just working in different sections. I started off with brown, got everything colored with the brown ink that I wanted to. Then I moved on to the green ink, the eucalyptus ink, and I'm going to make sure I cover in all those little needles from the branch. And if a few colors mix where you have those itty bitty spaces, that's okay. It's not going to be totally noticeable. So don't worry about it. Don't stress too much. No masking required for this. I just put the ink on because what we're going to do over the top of this is add in some gilding flakes to just little sections. So once I had the inking done, I went ahead and took off the stencil, cleaned it off, and placed it right back over the top. You don't want to leave the ink on so it doesn't mix with your Tecu and dry gel medium. Now I'm using a chip brush that I've used before in my distressed foiling video, and I just take the lid off my container and work from there. Because it's such a small amount in the lid, that's what works best for this. And I even blot some off on a scrap piece of paper off to the right hand side. And I'm just dotting this on, brushing in a few different places. You don't want a ton of this on, you want more of a distressed look. And the great thing about this, you're adding such a small amount, it's going to dry pretty much instantly. So go ahead and take your stencil off once you feel like you have enough. You can't really see it on there, but I promise it's on there. Wash your stencil, wash your brush out, and then it's time to add the gilding flakes. So again, this, you can't really tell where the medium is. So I like to just take a ton of gilding flakes pretty much over the whole background and place a good layer on and just start pressing down. Wherever the gel medium is not, it's not going to stick to, but wherever it has been, you're going to go ahead and get some of those gilding flakes to stick. It's going to be very spotty. It's not going to be large sections. So just place it over the whole background and use your finger to rub over it. You're going to feel like you're wasting a lot of your gilding flakes. As long as you're working in a box, you can always kind of gather them up, sweep them together with your little brush, and put them back in the container so you're not wasting anything. Now, once I feel like I've got a good amount on there, I just take my little bristle brush. Again, this one's from Imagine. It's a very dense little brush, and I just start brushing over all the gilded areas. Now this is going to release any gilding flakes from where there isn't that sticky medium. You're going to be left with such a tiny amount of gilding flakes on there, but it's so gorgeous. You get those little pops of shine on your background. You've got some on the pine cones, some on the branches. It really is so, so pretty. and such a fun technique. And it doesn't require a whole lot of product to do it. Now, once I've got all the little bits brushed away, this card is ready to be finished as well. Again, like I said, those little bits that are in my box, I just sweep together with my brush and pop them right back into the container so nothing is wasted. What I did to finish this card was I built up a prayer sentiment from a Hero Arts die cut. I did about 3 layers of craft, 1 layer of gold, and then I added that onto a vellum little banner that I cut. I added a few Nuvo drops around the little areas, and then that was it. I popped everything onto a card base, and this card was done. Super simple and easy to do, but I love the pops of shine that those gilding flakes give you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and a look at how you can use your gilding flakes with stencils a couple different ways. If you have any questions, you can leave them down in the description, or not in the description, in the comments for me. If you enjoyed this video, the thumbs up button always helps. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, you can do that over on the left-hand side as well. Don't forget all the information down in the description box. That does it for me today. Thanks for watching and happy crafting, everyone.